Welcome back to my YouTube channel where I will be rebuilding yet another very wrecked motorcycle. I'm very excited about it. It's in the back of the truck and I'm making my way back home from the auction. I'm bringing you along for a little bit of the ride because I wasn't able to capture the actual auction event, and that's kind of a bummer. But I was able to go and pick it up, so I thought I'd bring you along for that ride. I got to watch them literally crane it into the back of my truck here, which is a fun event, but also a really sad event because it just looks so pitiful being dropped in by a crane. And when we get back, I'll definitely give you a look at what it looks like in the back of the truck, how pitiful it looks, and then hopefully try to get it out of the back of this truck. That's yet to be seen if we can do it today. I might need some help for that. So as you can see, we have another Ducati. That was not on purpose. I actually bid on a Honda, a Yamaha, and a Kawasaki before landing on this Ducati. But I've done Ducatis before, and it seemed like a fairly good deal. We won't get into the specifics of that deal just yet, but know that at least I think it was a pretty good deal. And having already done a Ducati, I still think it was a good deal. This is a 2023 Ducati V2. It is not their V4. It is what they call their mid-range sport bike. It is still a 959cc, I believe. If I get that wrong, I'll put it here. And it has what we dealt with last time, an extreme amount of front end damage. So that's going to mean a whole new front end for this bike. And hopefully, from what I can see already, the parts for this bike are going to be easier to find, unlike the Diablo that we just built. The 2023 is the year before they made the transition to a new design, and so this model goes, for a lot of the parts, goes all the way back to 2018, and it also shares DNA with the Street Fighter V2, the V4 model, as well as some Diablo models. There's a lot of interchangeable parts here, there's a lot of aftermarket parts here, and so I'm hoping that we can keep this really tight budget for this bike. And for anybody who was around for the last bike build, you'll know that keeping to a budget was nearly impossible. If you weren't around for the last bike's build, let me show you a little piece of what that looked like.
Miles and miles and miles on my way. Trials and trials have been my path. Pressing on with no direction. Through the fire, the smoke and gas.
Standing. Yeah.
My tears have rained with sorrow. Cursed each day with every breath. Now here I stand with new tomorrows. I've been lost but found at last. And the heavens say yeah, and the preacher says amen, and the angels say well, if you obey, with arms wide open, we'll all be there. Welcome home, you're finally here. Piece by piece I started over, step by step I made my way. All you said was just keep going, don't give up, it's not too late. And they haven't said yeah.
Because at least they made a new part.
I'm in. I will. Appreciate it.
Words unspoken made me whole, amazing grace.
Oh no.
Here I am, song I'm singing, raise my voice.
I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna fix the problem. So that installed actually really easily. Very happy with that. That looks 1,000 times better. I'm getting really excited. Fingers are still super crossed. The paint on these front fairing pieces is not doing so hot. So the last attempt to paint these fairings went horribly wrong. So what I had to do was remove all instances of any paint that I've ever put on them before, resand, reprime, and then repaint them. But we finally got them to a really good place. They are curing now. They are not perfect. There is still a little bit of junk in them, and that's just what happens when you're doing things in your garage or outside. All right, we can probably start to maneuver this motorcycle out of the back of this truck, which is going to be kind of a nightmare because it's really heavy and I'm just one person, so I may need to call in the cavalry. We'll see. If I do it by myself, my wife's going to kill me. We'll see. Here's what I've decided. The tank, I believe, is pretty much full of gas right now, and that's going to be a huge weight in trying to get this bike off the truck. And that's just something that I don't want to have to deal with. So I believe I can get this tank off pretty quickly. So what I'd like to do is just that. Get the tank off the bike, save a good bit of weight, and then be able to transport the bike off the truck. That's what we're gonna do.
I probably should have done a little bit more research on the bike before I just started digging into it, but it's not that hard to find the parts that need to come off the bike, find the bolts, remove the bolts, and then move on from there.
So next we got this one here. I got all the bolts that I think hold this gas tank on. I unclipped the ground wire here. Underneath there was the fuel pump wiring. Now there's the fuel line itself. That should just, whoop. There's the, okay, those hoses there, good. Now, that smells good. I just need to get it off the front here, but it should, I don't know why it doesn't just come off. I see why I don't like it. I'm gonna get a rag and put that over here so it doesn't just keep dripping gas in there, and then get this front ignition off. That's the plan. So I was wrong. It looks like there's a little metal piece here, a little stud that sits right in here. I can just slide out, and I'm sure if I take out the other side, we'll be able to just lift the tank out in one piece. That'll be great. Let's do that right now. Actually, not smart enough to have the tools that I need. Yes. Oh, baby, yes. Oh, so heavy. Oh, so heavy. Oh. Woohoo!
Due to the gentle prodding of my beautiful wife, I implored the use of my good friends, Brian, aka The Muscle, and Matt, aka The Anchor, to help me get the bike out of the truck. By myself, this would have definitely been a poor decision, but with our powers combined, it actually ended up being not too bad. Definitely a big shout out to these guys. Without you, I don't know where I'd be.
All right, now that we have the bike pretty much all squared away on this makeshift hanger, we can go ahead and start diagnosing a lot of the issues that are readily apparent, and then start poking, prodding, and removing pieces to find hidden damages, which there's probably gonna be lots of that. So let's go ahead and start digging into this motorcycle. Right away, we can see major damage, like here at this clutch housing, but I'm sure there's more to be found, so let's get into it. One of the first things that we can see right off the bat is this front end here, and behind me is the detached front end. So forks, triple clamps, wheel assembly, everything when I got the bike was just gone. It was just totally detached from the motorcycle. And the last motorcycle, if you remember, that front end gave me just the worst trouble. And so why I went back again and decided to do another front end motorcycle is beyond me. I'm a glutton for punishment. But I do think I learned lessons last time that I will incorporate into this motorcycle, such as forget about the old ones and just get new ones. Don't buy really, really sketchy things and hope they work out. Get nice things and know they'll work out. So those are the big takeaways that I would say from this front end. That doesn't mean that there's going to be issues. Looking at these radiators and whatnot, there could be some hidden damage behind here. I'm hoping there's not engine damage behind here, but that is still very much to be seen. One of the silver linings to this motorcycle is the fact that most of the wiring was still very much intact. Again, on the last motorcycle we did, there was wiring and plumbing that was just a huge issue. For one thing, the wiring on this looks good. For the second thing, a new wiring harness for this is fairly cheap. This motorcycle, although a 2023, runs backwards in a lot of cases even to 2018. So it's borrowing parts not just from the V2 series, but from the 899, the 11-12-9, I believe, and some of the Diablo models. So there's parts galore for this. Finding them nice and not sketchy is another issue entirely, but luckily, again, a lot of the wiring on this bike is in pretty good shape. One of the very first things I want to do is to take a look at this clutch cover. This clutch cover, as you can see, is very broken. And because of that, I want to see what's behind the clutch cover. So hopefully there's not too much damage, it's just the cover itself, but we do need to see what's behind there in order to buy the things that we need to in case the clutch is no good. To get to the clutch cover, I believe we need to get a couple more of these side fairings off the bike, so let's do that right now. Unfortunately, I don't know exactly how to take these side panels off, so I'm going to kind of be attacking it as I see it. So we're just going to dive in. I see two here, I see one up here. That's about it for now. We're going to jump into it.
Diving into these projects headfirst is usually how I get things done. It's not always the winning strategy, but it works for me. These fairings here are held on by a couple of Allen bolts up top, a couple of bolts here on the bottom, and one or maybe two underneath.
Something is holding it up back here. I don't know what it is. I think this is broken anyways, so it may not be that bad to just rip it off, but I do want to try to save it. Oh, I found it. It's a little bolt, but the radiator is blocking it right here. It's probably because, see that little bolt back there? I don't know if you can see it. Right there. Because the radiator is so smashed up against the bike, I don't know if we'll be able to get it with the drill, but we'll try our best. Oh. Ooh. Well, it's not getting any broker. Yes. This little guy. Only thing holding on. All right. Now that that's off, we got to move on to, looks like this piece here, then this piece here, then the clutch cover. Oh.
Since you're watching this video, you're probably somewhat similar to me in that this is my favorite part of the build. Just digging in, taking things apart, seeing how this bike is put together.
It's attached behind this thing, and I really don't want to take all that off. That just seems silly. I'm gonna do it by hand. Whoop! Right back in there. Gonna get that one out, and then possibly up here as well. There's a lot of random bolts holding these plastics on. Oh, and they're not in really easy to get to spaces. Okay. Gracious, there's so much happening both behind this and in front of it. Like, how the heck, how do they put this in here? What I'm probably gonna end up doing is just pulling this out of the way a little bit and getting to these bolts. But man, that would be such a hassle just to get that out. All right, yeah, forget all that. That's ridiculous. I thought maybe it would be easier getting some of that out of the way, but it is not, because this bolt right here means I need to take off this section up here, which is just, no, that's just not gonna happen. So we're gonna go about this the ghetto way and just lift this out of the way to get to the bolts underneath. That'll have to do. It's wild how bad that clutch cover is. But let's open it up and see how bad it is behind it. Hey, would you look at that? Besides that right there. Let's see. We can see how bad that is. I don't know. There's a little nick right here. A little nick on the side here. So I think we might have gotten away fairly unscathed. That's obviously still to be seen. I need to make sure we didn't lose any metal shards inside the clutch housing, but I don't think so. I think it pulled out pretty cleanly. But this here is totally and fully mangled. I was hopeful that it was just the clutch cover that ended up being really bad, and having looked at it from the outside, I thought we got away unscathed, because what was happening was the cracks were on the outside of the clutch cover from here, and this was looking really good, all of these parts here. But as I started to look a little bit closer, I found something that is no bueno. Let me show you. So on each of these here, 1, 2, 3, 4, those all look good. When I lifted this up, that right there, that is no good. And what that means is it's not just the clutch cover, it is the entire clutch housing. So that whole thing needs to be replaced. So now, truly, I get to take down the entire side of the bike. Not as much fun as I was hoping to have with this so far. But we continue forward. That's part of it, that's content, right? Yeah. What I think I want to do now is to attack the front of this bike and get the water cooler and the radiator off the front. And the reason I want to do that is, one, because I just found major damage on that right side with the clutch cover. And I want to make sure that the engine itself isn't cracked anywhere else. If the engine is cracked, then we are in huge trouble with this build. And it may end up being that this is one off episode that becomes a part out, try to recoup my money. We will see. Fingers crossed. Found my first warped bolt. That sucker is bananaed. Yep, gonna need a new one of those. There's another bolt holding it on in the back here, right behind the battery holder, battery box. She's got a Panigale A Allen key. And we're definitely not thinking about fixing or rebuilding this motorcycle when they built it. I'm trying to wrestle with this. Okay, there's that.
Just like on the other side, this fairing is held on by a couple of Allen bolts and normal bolts at the bottom, and then it should come right off.
Got it.
Next, we're moving on to the actual radiator itself, and here I'm just loosening up the clamps that are holding the tubing on so I can pull the radiator away from the body of the bike.
There we go. Jeez. This thing's garbage. Let's take a look at this engine and see if there's any hidden damages back here, because that would be a huge bummer, like the biggest bummer. So I'm not seeing anything super apparent right away. What is that? Nothing. Good. All right, let's check. That bolt looks real mangled. Let's try to get that out real quick. See if there's anything hiding there. Ooh, that header is toast. So I know you're this one, but I don't think you're gonna fit it. So we may have to get, let's see if we can't just stranglehold you out of there. Oh, that'll do it. These just might be down real good. I really just want to check those corners. Little scuff there. I'll go through and double check it to make sure. But honestly, it looks like the engine got spared a lot of the impact. That header pipe took a good beating for sure, but it does look like that took the brunt of it, and we should be okay. Now, this engine does have a lot of miles on it, and I would like to see what it would take to do a full Desmo checkup on it. I don't know what that is. I don't know how to do it, but that might be something to look into. Let's get this bottom radiator off real quick, and then I think we'll call it quits for today. Got it. Got it out. That thing is well and truly perished. I already have another one in the box. So I think we're okay. We're making progress. And with that, I think we're gonna end this first episode. We have uncovered some unfortunate things. We have uncovered some fortunate things. And we've torn down the bike a good bit so far. Lots of parts already on their way. Lots of parts already here. But a major part, that clutch cover, has not been ordered yet. I'll have to order that. And still strip apart this whole right side of the bike. But thank you so much for tuning in to the first episode of season 2 of me rebuilding motorcycles in my garage. Not intentionally, this is another Ducati. This is not technically a Ducati channel, but who knows, maybe it is. Drop a comment, smash the like button. We'll see you next time. Bye. They do this every year. Why? Doesn't anybody love me?